of the scariest things that ever happened to me while babysitting. Story time. Now, I was 15. I've been babysitting for a few years at this point, so I had a lot of experience with kids. They love me. Well, a family friend asked if I would go babysit their 7-year-old son for a couple of days while they went out of town to Myrtle Beach, so I said sure, that was great money for me. So the parents put their bags in the car. They showed me where everything is. Now, his mom made it clear to me that he has a very active imagination and that because his daddy let him watch horror movies the week prior, he's been having nightmares and making things up, saying that he's been seeing stuff around the house that's not there. So they get their stuff in the car, they give their son a kiss, and they leave. So I'm flipping through all the satellite channels, checking out different shows, eating popcorn, little boy's playing with his toys, drinking his little juicy juice, and we're just having a good time. So I go in the kitchen to put a frozen pizza in the oven, and all of a sudden, this little boy comes flying out the living room, running up to me, and then wraps around my leg, just looking in the living room and then looking at me, back and forth. I said, "Damn, son, are you okay? What happened?" He said, "She's in there, she's in there." I said, "Who's in there?" He said, "Her," but I didn't see nothing. And before I can push him any further, he walks over and sits in front of the TV and starts ignoring me. We're sitting on the couch watching TV, and their couch was in the middle of the room, so you could walk around it. Well, this little boy starts looking behind the couch and then back at the TV. So I start looking back behind us. It's like a natural reaction when you see somebody else doing that, you start doing it. The more he did this, the more I felt like somebody was standing behind us, but I don't see anything. So I get up and walk across the room, and from there I can see the hallway. And for a second, something stood out to me. At the end of the hallway, it looked like someone was peeking around the corner like this. But when I cut the light on, it was gone, so I thought my mom was playing tricks on me. My anxiety's peaking, so I'm like, okay, it's the first time you've been left alone in someone else's house. Calm down, go take a shower and go to bed. But while I'm taking a shower, I get the weirdest feeling like somebody's standing outside of the shower curtain. Now, they had a big-ass bathroom, so I was like, dude, it's a new place, it's a big bathroom, you're not used to this. Just stop freaking out. But I have to keep sticking my head out the shower curtain to make sure nobody's there because I'm getting that vibe like somebody is there. So I peek out the shower again and bam, this kid is standing in the doorway crying. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "It's gonna get me. It's in there. I just saw it. Can I stay here with you? I'm scared." I said, "Yes, stay right there. Just turn the other way." And then I dry off and get dressed in the shower so he can't see me. Now it's about 11 o'clock at this point and he's still wide awake. So we sit there and talk for a little while. We play with Legos, Play-Doh. I'm just trying to wear him out so he'll go to sleep. Well, finally around 2 a.m., he falls asleep. Now, it was already so late, I didn't have time to unpack my clothes, so I just get in the bed and I go to sleep. About 10 minutes later, I hear this youngin' screaming again. Before I can even get out of the bed, I hear him thunk, 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 and he's already running into my room, jumps into bed with me. He's screaming to the top of his lungs, "She's there in my room, behind the door. She's gonna get me if I'm alone. Please don't make me go back in there." So we're laying there in the bed together, and he says, "I know you think I'm making stuff up. I promise you I'm not. She was there. I saw her." I said, "Honey, I believe you. It's okay. Just relax and close your eyes and start taking some deep breaths." This child has one hell of a grip on me. Like, he's wrapped around me like a python, so I could tell he was really scared. Like, he really thought something was going to snatch his ass off that bed. So I just held him and hoped that maybe he would calm down. Now, I know a lot of you would just tell these kids to hush and go to bed, but I'm not like that. I went through the same thing as a child. I would see things that were not there, and nobody else believed me. So I wanted him to know that I believed him and I was protecting him. So I reached over to the nightstand and I tapped that old school touch lamp 3 times and put it on the brightest setting so it lit up the room. That way we would feel more safer and we'd get some sleep. Then I start hearing some distant thunder, and then it starts pouring rain. I think, oh, well, that sounds relaxing. So because of that storm, my ass knocked out. I was doing some good sleeping until about 30-40 minutes later. That was when I abruptly woke up to the bed shaking. It felt like a small tremor, like a little earthquake. So I'm trying to get my eyes adjusted and wake up and figure out, why is the bed shaking? Apparently the storm knocked the power out because it was pitch black dark in that room, and the only time I could see anything was when the lightning struck. Well, once my head gets adjusted, I start hearing a noise like chattering of teeth. I'm laying there trying to figure out what the hell is that noise and what is shaking the bed. And that's when I look over and I see the little boy is sitting up on the other side of the bed with his hands holding the cover. And it's him shaking the bed. He's shaking that hard. And that chattering sound I heard was coming from his teeth. He was sitting here holding the covers with his eyes wide open and going, "Are you okay?" Because I thought he was having a seizure. But when I looked at him, his eyes darted over to mine and I realized he was awake. He was so scared. Like, he couldn't move. He was frozen, shaking and chattering. I'm like, well, if he's not having a seizure, what is wrong with him? And that's when it clicks. He's sitting here staring at the door, so I look at the door. Y'all, let me tell you, in that moment, when that lightning flashed, I damn near shit my pants. It scared me so bad. Have you ever been so scared that your hands and arms and legs start tingling, they damn near go numb? When I looked at that bedroom door, there was someone's head peeking around the door like this. And you could only see their eyes. And when the lightning stopped flashing, I couldn't see anything anymore. It was complete darkness. That was when it really hit me. Holy crap, we're not alone. There's someone else in the house and they're standing right there. But what really freaked me out was every time the lightning would strike, I could see more of that person's face. Like, it started like this, and then this, and this, and then I could see their actual mouth. This person was smiling ear to ear. I could barely take a breath in. All I could think was, what the hell is that thing? Then of course the lightning stopped flashing, so for a few seconds it was completely dark, and I had that feeling again like someone was watching us and getting closer and closer, and I was starting to panic. And when lightning struck a few seconds later, I could tell they were getting closer because now this motherfucker, person, thing, or whatever, was now at the foot of the bed, peeking over like this, staring at us. At this point, my damn teeth were chattering. All I could hear was between the both of us. So I pulled that little boy up on my lap in my arms as tight as I could because I didn't want whatever it was to try to snatch him out of my arms, and I held him real tight. So now when the lightning flashed, we could see its whole face peeking over the bed, smiling, looking right at us. So that was when fight or flight kicked in for me, and I remember the dad telling me that he'd put a loaded pistol in the nightstand and behind the headboard of this bed, so I start reaching around for it. And for some reason, my gut was telling me, you better keep your eyes on this thing. Every time the lightning strikes, pinpoint where it is with your eyes and don't take your eyes off or it's going to jump. Reaching, trying to multitask, keep my eyes on it, hold the little boy, and feel around for this pew-pew, and I finally feel it, and I snatch it out of that holster and I hold it up. When the lightning struck, I pointed at this thing. I said, if you take another step, I'm going to blow you into the next room. Get out and leave now. In that moment, something happened. I don't know what it was, but I could feel me looking into it and it looking into me, and that lightning flashed, and then all of a sudden the power cut back on. And no lie, as soon as the power came on, it was gone. I snatched him up out of the bed, grabbed that pew-pew, and ran to the kitchen and called 911. I stayed on the phone with them, the police came, and then I called the parents. I put the cop on the phone, they're talking, and then they tell the cop that they're not coming back until Sunday. Even though we're telling them we think there's an intruder in the house and their child's here, they don't give a shit. They're not coming home. They think it's our imagination playing tricks on us because the power went out and we're getting freaked out with the storm and everything. So I made it very clear I was not staying in their house another minute, and I was going to take their child back to my family's house, and that's where we would be. And they said, okay, fine, we'll see you on Sunday. So I asked the little boy if that was the first time he saw this thing, and he said no. He'd been seeing it for months, but this was the first time it got that close. Now, I knew he'd have to go back to that house, so the next day, me and my cousin went over and cleansed the entire house, hoping it would help. My grandma met the devil. Story time. So when grandma was in her late teens, she had a child out of wedlock, and this man abandoned her. So at this point, her parents were pushing her to get married to someone new. That's how it was back then. She's sitting in the old Chevy with her friend at a burger place when this really tall, dark, very attractive man walks up behind the car, stops, turns around, and comes back to her window and leans in. My grandma was very modest, but she openly admitted this was the most attractive man she had ever seen in her entire life. He didn't even look real. She didn't even think people could look this way because he was so perfect, so handsome. He was about 6'5", 6'6" tall. He had jet black hair, bright green eyes, big lips, and pretty white teeth. He was dressed in all black. Black coat, black shirt, black pants, and black shoes. So he leans down in the window and they start talking. He says his name is Sammy, he's new to town, and he's just trying to make some new friends. So my grandma and her friend, being the sweet, kind people they were, they invite him to come sit down and have a burger with them. He was very quiet and shy, but he only talked to her. He didn't say 2 words to her friend, so she thought maybe he liked her. And they ride off and ride around town all night, just talking and hanging out. Here's where it starts to get weird. Grandma said when she went to drop him off, she asked him, where do you stay? He said, well, I don't have a home, I just came to town. She said, well, where do you want me to take you? And he had her drop him off at the graveyard. He was like, I don't know that I really want to go out there, because that's just a scary place, even in the daylight. He was like, well, just take me to the end of the road. So she drops him off at the big gate. Now, she did not tell this man where she lived, but the next day around 12 o'clock, he comes walking up the driveway, and her mom's sitting there on the porch, shelling butter beans, and she's like, hey, there's some tall guy walking up the driveway. Grandma's like, oh, that's Sammy, the man I met last night. So by now, her friend and her mother have both seen this man. He's real. But most importantly, he was dressed in all black. So Sammy walks up where grandma, her mom, and the little toddler are sitting on the porch shelling butter beans, and Sammy asks grandma out on a date. So my grandma looks over at her mom, and her mom's like, yeah, go ahead, I'll watch the baby. Remember, he came up walking, but now they're driving in her car. So he tells grandma along the way that he's made a little picnic out in the graveyard. And grandma, being the kind of person that she was, didn't want to be disrespectful or ungrateful, so she agreed to go. They go out to the graveyard where she sees there is no picnic. He lied. There's no blanket, no food, no nothing. And now he's asking her all these personal questions, mainly about her faith and personal belief. He starts talking about religion. Do you go to church? What do you believe in? And then he starts debating with her a little bit about Christianity. Grandma always admitted she was never a perfect Christian. She sinned a lot. She made a lot of mistakes. But grandma, being a faith warrior that she was, you could not dilute her faith. Like, she would fight you all day long about her God. She wouldn't push it on you, but if you debated her, she would defend it. Then Sammy asked grandma, were you in love with the man you had that child by? Grandma said, oh yeah, I thought we were going to get married. I fell head over heels for him. And Sammy said, I know when you're lying. It really freaked her out, though, that he called her out on it like that. She could just see something in his eyes like he knew she wasn't telling the truth, so she admitted, no, I wasn't in love with him. The truth that everybody didn't know was Grandma and the baby daddy didn't even know each other. They had like a 1 or 2 night stand, got pregnant, and then because they didn't want to look bad, they told everybody they met, fell in love, were going to get married, and then the man abandoned her because he got cold feet. Sammy says, but you weren't going to marry him either. He wasn't the only one with cold feet, was he? Grandma was like, wait, we're the only 2 people who know what happened. How do you know that? And Sammy loudly says, I know everything. Then he tells her, I want you to come be with me. He said, you leave your child behind. It's just going to be you and me forever. And Grandma says, leave my child? I would never leave my child for anyone. And he says, yes, you would. You will for me. He said, I know for a fact you would leave your child and your whole family to be with me. Grandma responds, no, hell I wouldn't. I would never leave my child for anyone. But mentally, in her mind, she admits she would. Like, there's a weird little feeling in her mind that says she would leave her child because it feels like he's persuading her to think or feel that way. Trigger warning. Then he tells her he wants to know that she'll do anything for him, even if that means unaliving people, and he'll give her whatever her heart desires. And now she's terrified. Something was telling her, you're dealing with something very serious here, like a serial killer, a demon, something's going on, and it's not good. You better get the fuck out of here. So she jumps up to leave, and then he pulls her back down and says, you can't leave until we're finished. You have to say yes or no. He says, I know you need a partner and a father for your child. She said, you said if we were together, I'd be abandoning my child. He said, well, that would be a stipulation of the deal. She said, it sounds like you're trying to trick me. He said, well, some people do call me a trickster. He said, all you have to do is agree to be with me. Just say the word yes, say it. She said, no, I'm not making a deal, no. And then she starts thinking about the story her great-grandmother used to tell her about the man in black. So the Man in Black story dates back as far as we can remember, all throughout the southern states. And it's a very attractive man who dresses in all black and targets female victims of all ages, asking them to do his bidding or trying to make a deal. They call him a trickster for a reason because his deals never end well, never, and people believe that he's actually trying to take souls. So she used to wear this pendant that her mom gave her. It wasn't a cross, it was something else. So she grabs it and starts mentally praying, please don't let nothing happen to me or my child, please protect us, because she's starting to freak out. She's scared. He backed up and said, you're never going to agree to it, are you? And she said, no, you should know that if you know everything. So he stands up, looks down at her, and she said his pupils got so big his eyes looked black, like they were almost solid black. He said, too bad we couldn't make a deal, but I will see you again in a few years. She said, no, you won't. He said, yes, I will. And then he disappeared as he walked behind the graves. She got so scared, her hands were shaking, her palms were sweating, almost about to throw up, so she got in the car and headed home. The whole way home, she kept thinking she was mentally breaking down, like, was he even real? Did this happen? And then when she gets home, her mom says, well, how did the date go with Sammy? And she's like, so he is real. You did see him. And her mom was like, yeah, where is he? What happened? And then she tells her mom, and her mom was like, holy shit. So her mom, being the religious fanatic that she was, takes grandma and the baby down to the river and has the preacher baptize them all over again because she thinks the devil's after them. Grandma said she don't know if he was a psycho, a serial killer, or a demon, but what she does know is he's real and he was there. And what's crazy, he was right. She saw him again 10 years later and he hadn't aged a bit. He came to her at her lowest point when her current husband was abusing her and her children. If you want to hear about that, I'll make a part 2.
Okay, I am crashing out and I need somebody to listen to me because I'm tired of bugging my friends with this. So this is going to be a story time about my psycho ex-neighbor who is still torturing me to this day, even though we don't live in the same complex anymore, okay? So listen, please. Okay, we're going to call her Mary, okay? So my husband and I moved above Mary in 2021. The first day we moved in, I'm unpacking, putting things away. My husband is at work, and she comes up to my door and she says, I'm sorry, I know you just moved in, but can you please turn your music down? Okay, it's like 11 in the morning. I had all the windows open. There was so much beautiful light. Okay, I'm sorry, the sound travels. So I closed the windows and I turned down the music a little bit, okay? And I was like, a couple weeks go by, we don't hear from Mary at all. She gives me smiles and says hi to my dog. And I was like, okay, so it was just that one instance. Maybe it was a little loud. The apartment had thin walls, whatever. No, that was not it. Then summertime comes, okay? We get an air conditioning unit. It's a standing unit, and every single day, as soon as I would turn it on, she starts banging on the ceiling with her broom. From there, it just escalates. Every time I walk in my apartment, she starts banging on her ceiling with her fucking broom. Every time I'd walk to my kitchen, there was one spot on the floors that would creak. Every time I'd walk on that spot, she'd bang on the ceiling. Every time I'm putting my clothes away and I'm closing my dresser drawers, she bangs on the ceiling. Every time she can hear my radio, she's yelling through the floor, shut up! You're so loud! Shut up! And then it gets worse. Then she resorts to calling the cops on us. Every single day for almost 2 weeks. Every time I'd wake up and I'd walk to my kitchen to go get water, she's banging on the ceiling. I got woken up at 7 in the morning to cops at my door saying, oh, we're getting noise complaints about you. I'm in bed. What do you mean you're getting noise complaints about me? I am in my bed. You woke me up out of my bed. And then they had the audacity to tell me that I need to figure out a way to get along with her. I'm not doing anything. So then I decided I'm done with this. I'm not talking to her anymore. I decided I'm going to get property management involved. So I started recording every time she'd be yelling at us through the floor, every time she's banging on the ceiling, and what we're doing. She's banging on the ceiling, I'm sitting on my couch. She's banging on the ceiling, I'm walking to my fucking kitchen to get water. What am I doing wrong? Then my property management company tells me that she's been complaining about us, but they haven't been telling us because she's done this to the last 3 tenants that lived in my unit. 3 tenants. 3 different people before me that signed that lease that had to deal with this. And they all complained to property management about her. So now I'm saying you need to do something about this. I'm not going to be the one to just sit here and take this. I have all of this video evidence that she's being crazy. You have all of these police reports. I'm not doing anything. So they said, okay, we're going to come to her unit. We're going to listen while you do whatever you're doing. And we're going to hear from her perspective what's going on because maybe it is loud. All right. So they go to her unit. I turn on my air conditioner. My landlord is recording a video to send to me because she was on my side. Okay. She's recording a video to show me what it sounds like. At most, it sounds like a refrigerator humming. Maybe, if that. Okay? That's it. It's not loud at all. She's fucking crazy. So then property management tells me, okay, here's what we're going to do. You buy soundproofing. Buy some soundproofing, put it under the air conditioner, maybe put some blankets under it so the vibration isn't as loud and hopefully it won't bother her as much. Okay. So we spent like a couple $100 buying car soundproofing panels to put under the air conditioner. We put them under our bed in our room. We put them behind picture frames. I was trying to soundproof our apartment to please her. It doesn't work. A couple weeks go by. She's still banging and calling the cops on us all the time, by the way. They're coming to our door weekly, and I have to explain to them the situation every single time. And every single time they go, oh, okay. And they leave. Okay. So then one night at like 8 p.m., we are on our couch watching TV and I get a knock at my door. I open the door. It's her. She reeks of alcohol and she's slurring her words. So I'm like, oh, she's about to flip out on us. I pull out my phone. I start recording her. She is going off about how we're the worst neighbors and how I don't even remember what she said because I blacked it out, but she just spews drunk babble on how we are the worst. And she doesn't want us to live there anymore, and we need to move if we're going to be so loud, and we're not considerate, and blah, 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 whatever. And I'm just sitting there recording her like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not doing anything. So then I send that video to my property management, and I told them, you need to let us out of our lease, or you need to evict her. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I cannot deal with the cops coming to my door weekly because of some psycho. Finally, they agreed. They let us out of the lease. We moved out. We moved into this apartment now, and everything was great for 3 years. 3 years. One day, I notice a car on our street that looks oddly familiar. It's hers. I'm thinking, oh, what is her car doing here? She must be visiting someone, right? She moved into my new complex. She lives by me again. She lives on the other side of my new complex, so I don't have to live right next to her, but I see her all the time going to do laundry, and every time she walks by me, she goes, what? Who did I piss off in this world that this is my karma? I am a good person, okay? I don't know what I did to deserve this, but she fucking lives next to us now, and ever since she moved in, we've been getting so many more emails from this property management company saying, we need to be considerate of our noise in the complex. We need to be considerate of our neighbors. Please turn your TVs down after 10. It's because of her, right? Like, she has to be complaining about the people that she lives next to now. So now, what do? I want to do something. So I'm thinking, should I pull my property manager, who lives right next to me, aside and show her the videos that I have of her? And be like, is this the girl complaining? Is this her? You shouldn't have let her move in here. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. She saw me today walking up the stairs and she's like, I will fight you. I want to like really inconvenience her. Like, I want to do something that's going to make her life really annoying, but I don't want to do anything illegal. What should I do? I need ideas. Thank you for listening if you made it this far. I will have updates for you because I am going to tell my property manager as soon as I see her.
Let me tell you about another crazy dating story I had. I've not gone on a lot of dates in my life. I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16, and I was very much into like high school sports. I just didn't date a lot. And this was probably from my freshman year of college. And it really is shocking the amount of crazy dating stories I have for the amount of dates that I've gone on. Okay, God, we can switch this around whenever, and I can find my husband immediately if you'd like, because I would. Anyway, I was a freshman in college. This guy wanted to go on a date, and I was like, okay. Again, new to dating, didn't know that, like, movies, not a great first date. And I was like, oh, we could go to the movies, and he said, oh, that's kind of expensive. Come again? That's really crazy. And I'm sorry, I'm in a parking lot full of people and it's really awkward to be taking a video, but it's fine. Right, so he's like, oh, that's kind of expensive. And I was like, okay. He got over it and we decided to go to the movies, and I think we went on a Tuesday. And where I live, it's like $5 Tuesdays. And he was complaining about it, and I was like, oh, my stars in heaven. And so when we were deciding what the movie was, I was like, oh, Pitch Perfect, like 2 or 3 or something. And I was like, oh, that sounds funny, you know? And he's like, I'm not watching that. And I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of crazy. And then he recommended a Star Wars movie. I don't even know what Star Wars movie it was. I loved Star Wars as a child and then kind of moved away from it. So I hadn't seen like the other 7 before it. And I was like, I don't think I'll really like get it, but we can, or we can look for something else. And he's like, no, we're watching the Star Wars. And I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And so we get to the movies. We didn't buy popcorn. We didn't buy drinks, nothing, which, I mean, movie snacks are a lot, but for a date, it's crazy to just walk in there, you know, go straight to the theater, sit down, and yeah, it was a really crazy time. I never should have even gone on the date, but it's fine. And so I think he's like continuously trying. It was a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember all of the details. I've had 2 concussions since then, okay? Be kind. I don't have the memory I used to have. Anyway, he kept trying to like hold my hand, and I was like, I don't like this. And then I don't know what is my problem in 3-hour awful dates, but apparently it's a pattern for me now. And I'm watching this movie. I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, cool. And apparently there was like a really big revelation in this Star Wars. And I was like, okay, I wish I would have known. Anywho's soul. The movie ends, and I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. And we make it out to, like, the lobby, and I can tell he wants to kiss me. And by the grace of God, my uncle, who never calls me, called me, and I was like, hallelujah, salvation and glory. So sorry, I had a little praise break. But I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, my uncle's calling me. And I picked up. I don't know why. I can't remember why. I do remember he called, though. And I will be indebted to him for the rest of my life. And he called, I answered, and I immediately walked right past the guy and went to my car. Because I didn't want him knowing what kind of car I drove. And I just didn't want to deal with it. And so that's my other crazy dating story. And I hope to have wonderful dating stories here on out. Thank you.
I like to play a little game at home called Refrigerator Jenga, where I try to remove something from the very back without moving any of the items cluttered in front of it. And it's fun because if I win, I get my item and I feel proud of myself. And if I lose, I spend 40 minutes cleaning up marinara and broken glass off the floor.
So a couple nights ago, I ended up in a really scary situation when I was out with my boyfriend. Basically, there was a woman at this event. This was a concert, but it was one of those concerts where people bring their kids, which I'm not a huge fan of because there is so much drinking going on. But at this event, there was a lot of kids. And I was stone cold sober. I was not drinking. And my boyfriend was sober as well. And there was a single mom there with her daughter. And they're just walking around, enjoying the music, enjoying the food. And I cannot express to you how this woman just looked vulnerable and naive. And that, I don't mean that in an ugly way at all. She was very tiny. She was maybe 5 foot, 100 pounds. Her hair was in braids. She had like a cute round face. She did not even look old enough to have a daughter that was like 8 or 9 years old. And at some point in the night, I noticed these men approaching her. And they're all quite a bit older than her, like in their late 40s. And they're talking to her daughter, and I'm like watching out of the corner of my eye, like, what's going on over here? Because the whole night, it really looked like she was alone with her daughter. So this one guy, which all these guys are drinking, but she ends up letting this man put her daughter on his shoulders to watch the concert, okay? A little while later, I see another man, also older, also drinking, do the exact same thing. And I'm kind of like, what's happening here? We ended up getting like closer to where she was, not even on purpose really, but we ended up being right beside her during like the in-between concert, so it's not as loud where you can't hear what's going on. These two men have to be 30 years older than this woman, and there's one on either side of her, and she's got her little girl with her, and like one of them's in her ear talking to her, the other one's leaned down talking to her daughter. And it just, the way I felt so uncomfortable, so like, this is not right. Whatever's going on here is really creepy. It's really weird. Like my spidey senses were just like blaring. And so my boyfriend, like I'm talking to him and I'm like, do you see this? Is this weird? And he's like, yeah, I mean, maybe she knows them. Like we don't know the situation. And I was like, no, there's something weird going on. Finally, one of the drunk, creepy old men wanders away and I take his spot. Like I like step where he was next to the mom. My boyfriend's right behind me and I just stand there. The other guy I can hear is like talking his friend up and he's like, yeah, he's a great guy, like such a good guy. Finally, he shuts the fuck up and I lean down to the girl and I'm like, hey, I just have a question. Like, do you know these men? Like, are you here with them? Are they your friends? And she looks at me with wide eyes and she's like, no, I don't know them. And like, they won't leave us alone. I'm like, do you want me to punch him in the face? Like, I will literally tell them to fuck off and get lost. And she's like, I just don't want to cause a scene. I don't want to cause a problem. Like, I'm just here to enjoy the concert with my dog. So my boyfriend, of course, is like, we will tell them to like leave you the fuck alone. He's like, I'll literally make them leave right now. Right around this time, the drunk idiot wanders back and he kind of like notices that I took his spot and he's like, what the hell? He leans down to the little girl and he says, do you want to get on my shoulders again? I'm sorry, gonna have to do part 2.
If you think your dating life is bad, let me tell you a story. Okay, let me tell you a story. See that back there? That's a suitcase. On Monday, I drove 3.5 hours to go visit a guy because he's in the army and he just never could come visit me. Whatever. So I drive out there to go spend time with him and be close that I can see him every day for 5 days. I come over, he makes me dinner the first night, burnt the dinner to a crisp. Nothing against it. Most men can't cook. Not surprised. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to make dinner tomorrow night. So tomorrow, the next day, I just go drive around and I go grocery shopping and I get like $30 worth of groceries to make like a chicken garlic parm dinner. I go back to his place. For 2 hours, I am cooking so that the house smells good when he gets home and that he has something hot and ready to eat when he gets home. So I make this dinner. I prepare it. It's in the oven. He's doesn't want to eat when he gets home right away, which like whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go work out and then I'm gonna eat. And I was like, cool. So he goes and works out, he comes out and we eat dinner. Does not say thank you for cooking the food. He does not say thank you for buying the food. And he doesn't even really compliment. He was just like, at the end, it was like, oh, it was good. That was it. And so then I do the dishes and I clean up. He kind of piddles in there a little bit and then like dries and puts away the dishes. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he had a long day at work. You know what? I have no idea. He's in the army. Who knows? Who knows what kind of day he had? So I was like, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. So the next day I go out and I get more groceries. I buy the groceries. I go back and I make dinner. He comes home a little early and he goes straight to his bedroom. Straight to his bedroom. And I'm like, okay. So I wait an hour and a half and I'm like, well, he's still not out here. So I'm going to make dinner and eat because I'm hungry. And it's like 6:30 at the time. And I was like, okay, I'm making dinner. So I make a quesadilla for me. I make extra and put it in the microwave for him. He comes out like 45 minutes later after I finish eating. I've already washed my dish and put it away. And I'm just sitting on the couch talking to a friend.
He literally, I was like, hey, dinner, I made dinner, it's in the microwave for you. And he was like, cool. Goes in, grabs it, literally walks right back to his bedroom. Right back to his bedroom and sits in there and eats the quesadillas that I made by himself. And I know I'm really worked up about it because right now it is 10:30 at night and I am going home a day early because I'm not doing this. I'm going to be home at 1 a.m. I don't care. So he comes back out and I was like, so what'd you think of it? And he was like, it was good. Tasted like an actual quesadilla. It tasted like an actual quesadilla because it was an actual quesadilla, okay? It was an actual quesadilla. I was like, okay, whatever. It's fine. I'm not making dinner tomorrow night. I'm just not doing it. I'm not spending more money on this ungrateful man. So he comes back from work and he's like, hey, what you been doing? You just been chilling today? I'm like, yep, just been chilling. Calling people back home, they're checking in on me, whatever. And he was like, okay, I didn't know if you made dinner or anything. I'm like, no. I made dinner. No, I did not. So I was like, do you want to watch a movie tonight? And he was like, well, I think I'm going to just work out and make some dinner. And I was like, okay, cool. So he works out, he burns something in the kitchen for dinner. And I'm literally like waiting to see if he's done and we can watch a movie. Goes back to his bedroom like a troll, like a hermit. And so I go and I sit on the couch and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch a movie. So I walk out there to go sit on the couch and select a movie. And I hear this man in his bedroom talking to another woman. And I literally have the receipts on this, but he's literally in his bedroom playing a game, talking to another woman. And like the first night that I came over, he was like, I'm going to go back and play my game. And I'm like, I wonder if he's just been talking to this chick the whole time. So I was like, I was on the phone with my friend. I said, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm going to just make up some crappy story and I'm leaving. So I packed up all my stuff. I put it by the door and I knocked on his door and I hear him, oh, hold on a second. Somebody's knocking at my door. I'm going to hang up and I'll call you back. I'm like, somebody's me, that person that drove 3.5 hours and took time off work where she could have been earning money to spend time with you. Yeah, that's that someone. So he opens the door and I'm like, hey, my mom's having a medical emergency. She's in the ER. I gotta go home. Total lie. Super fabricated. I mean, I really should have just told him straight up that I think you're boring. I think you have no manners. And why are you talking to another girl in your bedroom? Like, while one is sitting on the couch, literally in your own home. So yeah, I am currently driving home. I am set to arrive at around 1:30 a.m. back in Mississippi. I'm so sick of dating. I'm so sick of dating because I don't know what it is about me, but I just attract the douchiest men, like the douchiest men. And this is terrible. At least I have enough self-worth, I think, to leave. I'm not going to stick around, but like at the same time, why does this keep happening? What did I do? What did I do wrong? I was never messy. I cleaned his house while he was at work. I swept the floors. I cleaned the kitchen. I cleaned the plastic he burnt off his stove the night before. I cleaned his bathroom. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I might be doing too much, honestly. I might be doing too much. It's not that I'm not doing enough. But like, I'm a traditional kind of gal. Like, you open the door for me. You carry my bags. Like, you say thank you if I cook for you. You should want to spend time with me. Otherwise, I don't know why we're even considering dating. Like, this is just, it's bad. It's bad. Anyways, that's my rant. So if you think your dating life sucks, mine's probably worse. It's not that bad because I always get out of it, but like, this keeps happening. And this one is the worst because I actually drove here. He would not even come to visit me. He would not come to visit me first. And I drove here. I spent my gas. I spent my money on groceries. I spent my time cooking and cleaning. And yeah, this is what it has amounted to. So I blocked him, so he's hopefully not going to see this video. But if he does, dude, you got to step up your game because you suck. You are boring. We're so boring. And you need some serious manners, and I don't think you're ready to date because I don't think you know how to treat a woman, or you're just a player and a cheater. So, yeah, I'm disgusted with dating. So the next guy that takes me on a date better impress me, or I might be an old hag that lives by herself with her farm animals. I'm just like, ah! I was literally shaking when I knocked on his door and I was picking up my bag sleeve because I was like so upset. I was like,
This is bad. This is bad. So yeah, that is my fun story. I wish it was fake, but I don't even think I have the creative juices to create something like that in my head. But yeah, dating sucks.
This is reason number 1 as to why you should always be very careful when inviting anyone into your home, even family. So for those of you guys who follow me on here, you already know that my father and I don't have the best relationship. Recently, I found out that he had a baby, so I reached out. We ended up reuniting. I met the baby and decided to invite them over to my house for dinner. Mind you, my home is extremely protected. So if anybody comes in with any type of negativity around them, they're not gonna feel well. So he comes over. The minute he walks in, he starts to become ill. He said he felt like he was gonna faint, like he didn't know what was going on. They ended up cutting their visit short and practically rushed out of the door. I didn't think much of it and just decided to go on with my day. The next day, which was on Sunday, I woke up in the worst possible mood. I couldn't understand why I was in such a bad mood. I had absolutely no reason to feel so angry, but something was just really bothering me. I decided to take the kids to go watch the new Spider-Man to kind of get my mind off of it. Once I left the house, I realized that I no longer felt like that anger. Like, it was gone and I felt fine. But the minute we went back home, I started to feel angry again. Decided to ignore it. I don't know why I keep ignoring things. Decided to ignore it, went about my day. That Monday I wake up, when I go downstairs, I notice that the house is dark. Like, there's this darkness around the house. My house is extremely light. My shades are always open. I don't like darkness. But again, busy with work, I kind of just get ready and go about my day. When I get home later on that day, the house has this weird, like, rotting smell. My kids can't smell it, but I can smell it, and it's bothering me. So I go around cleaning the house. I'm like bleaching, I'm scrubbing, I'm mopping. I'm like, where's that smell coming from? I even like deep clean the trash can, like in the inside, thinking maybe something spilled in there. I couldn't get the smell from like out of my nose. That night I go to bed and I end up waking up at exactly 3 a.m. So I'm like, fun, this is fun. I'm like getting chills even thinking about it. My mouth is so freaking dry. I go downstairs to get something to drink. When I go downstairs, I notice that the basement door is open. I never leave that door open. So I shut it, grabbed the water, and went back to my room. The minute I lay down, I'm paralyzed. This thing paralyzes me, and it shows itself. I'm like fighting back again. I'm not afraid of any of this stuff because I've been dealing with this stuff my whole life. So I'm pretty much laughing at it, telling it that it has no power and needs to leave. I start to pray, and it's continuing to like hold me down. At one point, I'm able to break free and I like overpower this thing. I have one of those Stanley cups, the dupe, not the real one. I'm not spending $40 on a cup. Next to my nightstand, and I started to hit it in the head with it. Once I did this, it went away. I say my prayers and go to sleep. I wake up at about 6 a.m. and decide to go downstairs to get my coffee. When I go downstairs into the kitchen, I hear what sounds like something like fumbling in the basement, like something's falling over in the basement. And then I look and realize that the basement door is open.
Get ready with me for story time on how a creepy man was following me and my friends at the mall. So this was about a year ago, like close to a year ago now, but it still like haunts me to think about. It was like so creepy. So me and my friends wanted to go shopping one day, so we decided to go to the mall that we usually do. And keep in mind, I've been going to this mall since I was like little and nothing bad has ever happened. So I don't really remember what store it was. I think it was Cotton On or something, but me and my friends were just casually shopping in Cotton On. And my friend told me, she's like, this guy has been following us and he's creepily staring at us. And I see this guy and I'm like, I don't remember seeing him anywhere. Like, how long has he been staring at? Like, has he been following us for? And by the way, this was like the third store that we went into, so I didn't think that like, I hadn't seen anyone coming. And to be honest, at first, me and my other friend, because I was with 2 other girls, we thought that she was joking because it just seemed like a joke. We didn't think that somebody was actually following us. And when we looked and turned at the guy, he just seemed like a normal guy. I mean, he had like a bucket hat and like he was just like looking around. We just thought she was joking or something. But one of the girls, well, the first girl that told us, I'm gonna call her Stella, she was so dead serious. Like, I looked at her and she was like, I'm actually getting creeped out. And I asked her, like, why didn't you tell us before? And she was like, oh, I just thought it was a coincidence that he was going to the same stores as us. And for people that know me, know that I do not take these things lightly. So I literally asked Stella, I was like, I think that, you know, if you really think that he's following us, then we should go tell the workers or one of the mall guards. But then Stella tells me that he's not really doing anything like super bad. He might just be like looking, or possibly it might just be a coincidence. So we all decided that it might be a good idea to just wait and like feel things out, because we can always go to mall security where we're inside the mall. It's not like this was an outside mall. But we soon realized that Stella's tuition and what she was thinking was actually right, because the next at least 5 stores that we went into, he was always there. And even in Sephora, and he wouldn't go and like actually look around. He would like go down the aisles and like slowly follow us, and we knew it. And just to try to take him off our minds a little bit and see if like he would still follow us, I decided to go to like this Starbucks that's like in the middle of the mall. It's not like in its own little area, it's like dead in the middle of the mall. Like that's it, in the middle of the mall. So I decided like to go stop there, because like if he really decides to go and stop there, then we actually have a serious problem. So we go in there, and guess what? He goes into the Starbucks line. So at this point, I'm like, okay, no, this is actually scary as hell. So I don't go up to him. I don't say anything to him, because I'm not trying to start or get him mad or anything, accuse him of anything. So at this point, me and my friends get scared. So we back off the Starbucks line, and we decide to go to like up to the I can't speak, but we decided to go to the food court area where the guards are, like where you can like ask for help or like if you have concerns. So we go to that little office. This is the first time I ever had to go in that area since I was like a child. I've never had to go in there. But unfortunately, the story does not stop there. As we were walking, because keep in mind, we were like in the middle, but you have to take an elevator or take the escalator up to even get to the floor to talk to the guards. So at this point, we're all scared shitless, and I'm just telling everyone, like, calm down. Like, I know we're scared, but it's better to stay calm in these types of situations. So we're walking up the stairs. I mean, we're not walking up the stairs. We're trying to walk a little faster. I'm like, guys, just speed walk a little bit, but don't be too obvious and don't look back. So we start to speed walk, and guess who else starts to speed walk? The guy. So I'm like looking back, but not in a super, like, I'm doing it in a subtle way, and I'm like, oh shit. So we actually at this point are like running to the guard's office, and he speeds up so fast. Like, I'm not even kidding you. He was making it so obvious. And I am running out of time because I have no phone storage, and it literally, the video won't post if I keep continuing. So stay tuned for part 2. I'm posting tonight. Love you guys. Bye.
Hey y'all, so I just got back from my trip from Mexico. I do look a little crazy, y'all. It's the next day and I just got back to Philly. But I'm here to basically tell y'all my experience in Tulum and tell y'all, do not ever go. Don't go to Mexico, y'all. It's so dangerous. It's unsafe. Don't go. Take my experience and learn from it. So our B&B was nice, y'all. This is some pictures of it. Just really beautiful overall, not gonna lie. So the reason why I stayed in a B&B and not a resort is because it was supposed to be 8 of us on the trip, but only 7 of us ended up coming, whatever, cool. But either way, I did enjoy the B&B experience, and I am glad because maybe that helped us experience less injustice. Now, it might be different for other people, but I enjoyed my Airbnb and the services rendered. Now, when we first got to Mexico, the first issue that we encountered was the rental. If you know, they make you bid for business. They all be trying to, oh, come with me. I give you discount. I give you best deal. So at first, y'all, we went to Enterprise to bid for business. They told us that they were going to give us a 8-passenger truck, and they were going to give it for $600, $500, which is literally not bad at all. But where they get you at is that once you leave the airport, you cannot come back in, which is the strangest thing that I've ever heard. Think about it. In your city, when you leave the airport, do they not let you come back in? Why? So whatever rental place you pick, they have shuttle buses to take you to where the cars is at, and you cannot get back into the airport through certain ways. Like, you literally have to go around the entire airport to get into certain ways. And where the rental cars is at, you cannot get back into the exact place where all the rental car places are bidding for your business. So we get there, and for one, they did not give us the right truck. They literally scammed us, and they literally played that role like they were going to give us an 8-passenger. At first, they tried to give us a 5-passenger truck. Then the 8-passenger truck that they gave us, the truck was literally so small that 8 suitcases weren't going to fit at all. And at that point, it was like, we might as well just take it, because we tried to get excursions done the first day, but that was stopping us up. The whole rental process, it was just too much. Whole time, y'all, then they try to get us to say they don't take they don't take debit cards. They need a credit card for their down deposit. So we had to go back to the airport, and we had to wait for somebody from a different rental company to come outside where the taxis and stuff is, and we had to talk to them. So we ended up going with Hertz. They gave us another bullshit car. Literally, the car speakers and the music was like staticky. It was just bullshit. It was literally bullshit. And they don't even let you try out the car before you buy it. They literally just make you buy the car. Then they pull up in the car and just give it to you. That's it. That's all. But at that point, y'all, like I said, not only were we in desperate measures, but we needed a car to get around. So it was just like, we just going to take what we got to take. Then our friends are literally looking for us, y'all. They're not letting them get to Terminal 3. They're in Terminal 4, y'all. They're literally right across. They could literally see us from the windows outside of their terminal. And they would not let them come out the terminal. So they literally had to wait, and sorry to say it, but run out to get to us. because they would not let them out. They kept telling them, yeah, you can only get out if you're taking a taxi or if you're renting. Like, everything with them is money. Money, 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 money. Let's try to see how we could get this money. Other than that, the rest of the trip was smooth. I had a lot of fun. Nice restaurants, A couple other restaurants was crappy that we tried. It was just one restaurant that was terrible. It's called La Taquera. Really terrible, really nasty. Do not recommend. But other than that, though, everything else was good. Cool. So the last day we agreed to go to the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning just because we did not know the check-in process with check bags. We're in a different country. We're just trying to make sure that we get there on time at the right time. Lo and behold, our Airbnb is in the jungle, like in the forest, so it's no roads. Tulum is not fully built, if you know, you know. So they only have main roads, no service, and like where the Airbnbs and stays be at, because it just be dirt, rocks, mud. It's no roads, no streets, no nothing. Just paved roads with, I guess, mud, dirt, rocks, tree branches, all types of stuff that you will find in a jungle or a place like that. Cool, we're riding. Of course, our tire pops. So my boyfriend gets down, he tries to fix the tire, and he got everything right perfectly. The rental car gave us these corny tools to fix the tire, so that was already taking up a lot of time, literally. It was just so much going on, y'all. That's when we finally get done with the whole tire situation, y'all. It was just so much. And we get to go around back to the airport. We're like, okay, we can still make it, y'all. We had like an hour or two left. We can still make it at this point. Come on, let's just have high energy. We're not even at this point worried about missing our flight because we're looking at the GPS and the time is saying that we're going to make it before our flight. Of course, another problem comes. They stop us at a checkpoint where like these cops are at with the AK-47. You might as well say the cartel. Call it spade to spade. They stop us, y'all. They let all the cars pass. And of course, they stop us and pull us over. It's a checkpoint. It's like a toll, but people are standing there with guns, basically telling you if you could go or if, like, you have to get pulled over to get an inspection. So they're inspecting our car and saying that we're breaking laws because we don't have a seatbelt on, which is respectable. But then they're saying we're breaking laws because we're lapping it up because the suitcases are taking up so much room in the back that we had to put one of the rows down in the seats and, like, had to sit on each other's lap. So they tell my mom, get out the car after asking for the registrations, the license, y'all. She's doing everything that they're asking. They tell her to step out the car. At this point, everybody's heart is beating because y'all got these big guns. The man is clutching on the trigger. What are y'all going to do to my mom? Like, it was such a scary experience. And it was just uncomfortable. Then y'all barely speaking English. Y'all just, like, it's just weird. Like, y'all just picking at this point. So she tells my mom, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. Why would somebody want to go to jail? And that's messed up because what if somebody don't have $400 and you're not supposed to do that? That's like a cop pulling you over and say, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. What? So they tell her, yeah, pay $400 or you go to jail. They're going to say, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll do you a favor and give you a 50% off discount. What? What are y'all talking about? So then my mom like, okay, I don't have cash. Like, I don't carry card. We don't take card. Yeah, y'all don't because y'all know that those transactions are going to show and that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. So then they like, yeah, go over there, get the money and come back by yourself. They told my mom to come back by herself. What? Like, what is wrong with these people, y'all? And then they took my mom ID basically as a way to tell her, like, yeah, you have no other choice but to come back. We have your information. We have your ID. So my mom goes to get the money and she walks back by herself and my heart is literally beating, y'all. I get out of the car and me and my boyfriend, we watching my mom from a distance because at this point, like, we're panicking. People in the car is literally mad that they're about to miss their flight. And all I'm worried about, truthfully, is the fact that something could happen to my mom. Simple. Like, this man is walking over with an AK-47 clutching his gun. It's just too much. Like, I've never been in a situation like this before. So they ain't gonna tell my mom, put it down, put your hand down. Basically saying, put your hand down so nobody see what's going on. Give me the money down low so nobody knows what's going on. And as he tells my mom to put her hand down, like, he pointing the gun, like, basically, like, directing the gun to put her hands down. Like, that's say, yeah, no other checkpoints will stop you because you already paid. Lo and behold, we get stopped by another checkpoint. Like, at this point, I'm literally irritated. I'm literally so irritated. Like, I'm irked. Then we get to the airport. We're rushing. They gave us injustice. We had to book a whole nother flight, y'all. We had to stay at the airport. We're at Starbucks. Starbucks closed at 9 o'clock in the airport. 10 o'clock p.m. in the airport. And then they had the audacity to say that their airport closes at 9 p.m. I never heard of an airport closing. I thought all airports was 24/7. And it was other people, y'all, that was going through the same thing. They were kicking them out the airports. Literally, basically saying, like, They don't have a hotel, no car, no rental, because at that point, you already returned your car. You already checked out your hotel, checked out your Airbnb. You just have to sleep outside till the airport opens up again. I don't know, find a way. It's basically what they tell you. That's so cruel. Then on the way back, they basically put like a warning on my friend to basically say like, she's danger, check her. So every time we went through TSA at another airport, they pulled her in the room with cops, checked her down, checked her bag, scanned her phone, did all of this stuff for no reason, y'all. No reason. They checked my boyfriend, literally dumped out the stuff in his bag, patted him down, patted his dreads down, saying that, why? Because he's black with tattoos? That he was that they were scared that he was going to bring in cocaine. Then they don't talk English. They talk Spanish. So everything that you do, they get over on you. If they know that you don't talk Spanish and they know that you're not from here, they get over on you. They look at it like, oh yeah, we about to get this money. Then they made my boyfriend miss the shuttle buses, y'all. When we were at first of all, I forgot to tell y'all. When we were literally at the rental car, returning our car, they kept talking on the speakers, making the shuttle buses go past us. We put our we put our airports in this one shuttle bus. This Mexican man took all of our bags out, all of our luggage out the shuttle bus and pulled off on us. And we kept telling them that we were in an urgency to get to the airport. So if you're stuck in a situation like that, don't tell them, because then they do stuff to hold you back up so that you can stay in their country and spend more money and buy another ticket. They are all working together to get more money from tourists, and that is not okay. I understand that your country is kind of poor, but you do not get over on other people. It's simple.
This is reason number 1 as to why you should always be very careful when inviting anyone into your home, even family. So for those of you guys who follow me on here, you already know that my father and I don't have the best relationship. Recently, I found out that he had a baby, so I reached out. We ended up reuniting. I met the baby and decided to invite them over to my house for dinner. Mind you, my home is extremely protected. So if anybody comes in with any type of negativity around them, they're not going to feel well. So he comes over. The minute he walks in, he starts to become ill. He said he felt like he was going to faint, that he didn't know what was going on. They ended up cutting their visit short and practically rushed out of the door. I didn't think much of it and just decided to go on with my day. The next day, which was on Sunday, I woke up in the worst possible mood. I couldn't understand why I was in such a bad mood. I had absolutely no reason to feel so angry, but something was just really bothering me. I decided to take the kids to go watch the new Spider-Man to kind of get my mind off of it. Once I left the house, I realized that I no longer felt like that anger. Like, it was gone and I felt fine. But the minute we went back home, I started to feel angry again. Decided to ignore it. I don't know why I keep ignoring things. Decided to ignore it, went about my day. That Monday I wake up, when I go downstairs, I notice that the house is dark. Like, there's this darkness around the house. My house is extremely light. My shades are always open. I don't like darkness. But again, busy with work, I kind of just get ready and go about my day. When I get home later on that day, the house has this weird, like, rotting smell. My kids can't smell it, but I can smell it, and it's bothering me. So I go around cleaning the house. I'm like bleaching, I'm scrubbing, I'm mopping. I'm like, where's that smell coming from? I even like deep clean the trash can, like in the inside, thinking maybe something spilled in there. I couldn't get the smell from like out of my nose. That night I go to bed and I end up waking up at exactly 3 a.m. So I'm like, fun, this is fun. I'm like getting chills even thinking about it. My mouth is so freaking dry. I go downstairs to get something to drink. When I go downstairs, I notice that the basement door is open. I never leave that door open. So I shut it, grabbed the water, and went back to my room. The minute I lay down, I'm paralyzed. This thing paralyzes me, and it shows itself. I'm like fighting back again. I'm not afraid of any of this stuff because I've been dealing with this stuff my whole life. So I'm pretty much laughing at it, telling it that it has no power, it needs to leave. I start to pray, and it's continuing to like hold me down. At one point, I'm able to break free and I like overpower this thing. I have one of those Stanley cups, the dupe, not the real one. I'm not spending $40 on a cup. Next to my nightstand, and I started to hit it in the head with it. Once I did this, it went away. I say my prayers and go to sleep. I wake up at about 6 a.m. and decide to go downstairs to get my coffee. When I go downstairs into the kitchen, I hear what sounds like something like fumbling in the basement, like something's falling over in the basement. And then I look and realize that the basement door is open.
82% of CIA agents are men, which is crazy to me because one time I used a guy's public Venmo transaction history and his Twitter likes to figure out that he was also seeing a girl across the country. And I just don't believe a man could do that.
Hey guys, so I have another story for you. This is an older story. I've shared it before. I'm going to condense it down to one video. This is probably, without question, the spookiest call I've ever been on in my law enforcement career, and I hope it never gets topped. But anyhow, it was several years ago. I was on the overnight shift. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was around Halloween time, so it's already got that spooky season feel. This elderly gentleman who lived out in the country, he drove to town for whatever reason and went to this 24/7 gas station, asked the clerk if he could use the phone to call 911. The clerk, of course, said yes. He calls 911 and tells dispatch something along the lines of like, my wife's missing or she's been kidnapped or something, yada, yada, yada. And to have the officer meet me at our residence. So I go to the residence, and as I pull up and I get out, I don't see any red flags, if you will. Normally in a situation like this, you would see or hear some commotion. You would have something standing out to you. I'm not getting that. It looks very calm, very quaint. I don't know what I'm really walking into at this point. I have terrible officer awareness. I walk up the driveway and I pass his truck, and he hops out of the truck behind me, and as I turn around, he's got a handgun. And he's extremely agitated and upset and emotional at the fact that his wife is missing or kidnapped or whatever it was. So after a few minutes of coaxing the handgun from him and make it safe, I put it on the hood of his truck. I'm like, okay, talk to me, what's going on? And he says, okay, follow me to the house. So I follow him to the house, and as he gets to the door, he says, and I will never forget this, he says, do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I do. And he says, good. And that means you believe in the devil. And I'm like, what? So he opens the door. He says, forgive me for all the candles. He says, that's the only way we can keep it out or something like that. And there's no candles, but yet he's tiptoeing through the living room like he doesn't want to step over these mysterious candles. There's no candles. So as I'm walking in the living room and all the furniture's gone, it's just an empty room. Like, I don't know if they're moving or they just moved in. It's just completely bare and empty. Although at every window around the home, I see a rifle or a shotgun. And I see spent shell casings and bullet casings. And I'm like, hey, bro, what's up with this? And he said, oh, I've been shooting out at these demons outside all night, trying to keep them out from coming in the house. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we're not going to have that right now. So he lets me make all of his firearms safe, and talking to him, trying to figure out where his wife may be. And then we're in this cabin-esque home, and there's a loft, and I see above us his elderly wife comes to the edge of the loft, and she's wearing this white, like, robe, you know, like something Ebenezer Scrooge would wear. A little creepy looking, you know, and she's just standing there staring down at us. And I'm like, all right, she seems sensible. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to talk to her, because obviously he's the issue, and we need to get him some mental health treatment. So I'm like, hey, I found her. And he's like, oh, that's great news. That's great news. You know, he's all excited. He's calmed down now. He's like, she's safe. She's sound. Good to go. So I'm like, we should be in and out in 5 minutes. So as I walk up the steps, I go up there and I talk to her, and I'm like, hey, ma'am, your husband's having some mental health issues. And she's like, I know. And she's like, I don't know what to do with him. I'm like, I get it. You know, boys will be boys, but I'm going to have to take him to the hospital. And I'm like, I'm going to probably need you to help me out and, you know, convince him to go with me. And I think we're on the same page. And all of a sudden she says, am I in trouble? And I'm like, no. Why would you be in trouble? And she's like, well, I'm curious. And I'm like, well, he's not in any trouble either. But why did you say, are you in trouble? Like, there's something not right about how she said it. And she said, well, because I fed it. I'm like, fed what? She's like, I was feeding the devil babies. And I'm like, what? Like, I get it. He's having a mental health issue, but it's very rare, if not impossible, in my opinion, to have two people having both the same mental health issues. And I'm like, run that back again. And she said, I stole babies And the only way I could keep the devil happy and away from us, because he broke into the home, was to throw them over the loft, because I'm only safe when I'm up here, elevated, and the devil's down there. I throw the babies over the loft or the balcony, and the devil feeds them. Or I feed the devil. But the problem is he won't leave me alone now. He's attached to me, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back down and talk to your husband. He's the more sensible one. I'm like, I'm never sleeping again. So I go down the steps. I talk to the husband. I'm like, bro, both you and your wife are going to have to take a trip with me to the hospital. And he is now freaking out. He's trying to run outside. I don't know why. I'm trying to wheel him in. I'm like, dude, I don't want you to go out there. It's pitch black. It's the middle of the night. Like, what is it out there that you need to do? And he's like, I need to get the devil away. I need to get the devil away from my house. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, the devil is throwing the babies into the fire. And I'm like, what? And he said the demons are dancing around the fire, and the devil is in the middle, and he's throwing the babies in the fire, and it's making the fire bigger, and I have to go put out the fire. And I'm like, bro, come back to reality. There is nothing out there. I am looking, and it is pitch black out there. And he's like, oh, you messed up. He's like, you just pissed them off. They're all looking at you now. And he's like, oh, they're running over here. They're running over here. And I'm like, well, shut the shades. Like, I shut the shades, and I'm like, now I'm wigging out. And I'm like, all right, look, we need to come back to reality. Luckily, at that time, another deputy shows up. The ambulance shows up. We both convince them to go to the hospital and get some mental health treatment. They do the same thing at the hospital. The doctor's like, I'm going to send him away, and hopefully we can get this fixed. They went away for a few days. They came back, and I never dealt with them again. I never had to go to the house again. Sadly, I did hear that the elderly lady later passed on a few years later. But to this day, I've never had a call where both people were suffering from the same delusion. And in my opinion, there was something extra sinister involved there that's beyond what medicine or therapy could solve, if you will. But I want to know your thoughts. Tell me what you